F4W Online's Bryan Alvarez slams Tony Khan's booking of All Elite Wrestling, saying Khan needs to stop running a promotion for the SICKOS. Sting reveals he signed a new multi-year contract with AEW, but for a non-wrestling role. Keith Lee provides a statement on his ongoing AEW absence. An update on the reaction to Stephanie Vaquer's departure from CMLL ahead of her joining WWE. Shelton Benjamin's second match for AEW has been announced for this week's edition of AEW Dynamite, as well as a match for Camille this Wednesday. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with Bryan Alvarez's scathing analysis of AEW President Tony Khan for his recent booking and lack of promotion on his pro wrestling programs. Now, Bryan Alvarez has said that Tony Khan needs to stop running a promotion for the SICKOS and actually promote his matches during the television show. Promoting and telling the viewers is what's happening isn't a WWE thing, it's a pro wrestling thing, according to Alvarez. Here's what he had to say on his perceived lack of promotion by the AEW president and CEO.
And I believe the problem is that Tony Khan remembers every last single thing that ever happened in AEW, and his presumption is you do too. Therefore, he doesn't bother explaining anything.
There's never recaps. There's been more in the past month or so. That's true, but they need more still.
We need more recaps. We need more announcers telling us what's going on and why.
Yep.
We need all of that. I don't want to hear that makes it more WWE. It makes it more pro wrestling promotion.
Yes.
Okay?
Promotion. It's in the word. It's in the name.
The reason WWE does most of what they do, not all of it, like not being able to say hospital is just Vince McMahon madness, but the reason that they promote matches in advance and they recap things that happen, and they make past events seem important to make future events seem important. That's not a WWE thing. This is the promotion of professional wrestling thing. They do it in New Japan. They do it in TNA. They do it in every wrestling company in the world. It is a pro wrestling thing to do recaps and to hammer things home into you. There's a reason it's called a promotion, and the guy running it is called a promoter. Promote your shit. AEW doesn't do that. They presume you know. We shot this angle, you're going to remember. We shot this angle with Stokely on Rampage, you're going to remember. Even though nobody watches Rampage, they just need to say more and hammer more of it home so that people remember. You can't literally run a promotion just for the AEW, what do they call them, SICKOS?
Yeah.
If you run a promotion just for the SICKOS, you're going to do 400,000 viewers eventually. Like, you got to run a promotion for everybody. The SICKOS can be the ones that buy tickets first and spend the most money on the merchandise and, like, are the complete diehards. But, like, you got to promote for everybody. Then you'll have a lot of viewers.
So what do you think about what Bryan Alvarez is saying there? Is he right? Is he wrong? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, Sting, we know he has retired, but he has also revealed he signed a brand new contract with All Elite Wrestling. Now, over 7 months from his in-ring retirement at AEW Revolution back in March, the Icon Sting has addressed his current contract status with the organization. Speaking with the David Difference at the 58th annual Cauliflower Alley Club reunion, Sting revealed that he had penned a new non-wrestling contract with All Elite Wrestling. Sting explained when asked what was next to him following the end of his in-ring career. He said, quote, "I signed a multi-year deal with AEW, obviously not to wrestle anymore, but it's kind of like a licensing deal, a Legends deal if you want to call it that, so I'll do appearances with them on and off depending on what they want and all. I've done real estate. I did real estate before I ever was a pro wrestler, so I've always loved real estate. A lot of people say, oh, you're a real estate agent? No, I'm not an agent. I'm an investor. I was flipping houses before flipping houses was a term, so I made money in real estate before wrestling, so I'm doing that again, and I love it." Now, of course, Sting's last AEW televised appearance came at AEW All in London back at Wembley Stadium in the summer, where he saved his protege Darby Allin from an attack from the Elite. A bit of an update here when it comes to Keith Lee and his ongoing AEW absence. Keith Lee has taken to social media to issue a statement to his fans amid his continued absence from AEW television. Last competing against Brian Cage on the December 23rd, 2023 edition of AEW Collision, many fans have speculated regarding the status of Keith Lee throughout 2024, with the former WWE star yet to make a single AEW appearance throughout the year. As we approach a year since his last match, Lee has now taken to Twitter to post an update for his fans, thanking them for their continued support. He wrote, quote, "I certainly don't see them all, but I have seen many. I must take the time to say thank you, and I must take the time to tell you we are not done. Hang in there, just like I am. Whatever it is, the time will come. Let's move forward. Oh, and don't forget to go vote." Now, while Lee did not address the reason for his absence in his statement, a report from Fightful Select earlier this month revealed that the former AEW World Tag Team Champion had yet to be cleared to make a return to the ring due to an undisclosed medical issue. Lee was originally set to face Swerve Strickland at World's End on December 30, 2023, in what would have been the long-awaited blow-off match following their tag team split, but would be pulled from the match and replaced by Dustin Rhodes. Of course, we wish him the best in his recovery. If we get any more details on that, we will let you know in a future video. Now, Stephanie Vaquer, of course, she's now in WWE, but many people are wondering just what was the reaction to her departure from CMLL. It was a little bit acrimonious at the time and led to some people speculating if she could have done the favors on the way out, as is kind of customary when you leave a territory. Now, Stephanie Vaquer headed to WWE after working AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and Fightful Select have been able to get some reactions within the industry following her NXT in-ring debut last week. Those that Fightful have spoken to around the Mexican wrestling scene are of the belief that Vaquer will not need to return to the scene and exited accordingly. Sources in AEW did say she made a good impression with her Mercedes Moné feud, but they could tell shortly after Forbidden Door that WWE had reached out and that she would eventually head to the company, though how quickly it came together did surprise many. Sources in AEW said they understood the element of WWE wanting a great talent that they were also after, but didn't quite understand the element of pulling her from CMLL dates before she could drop the title that she needed to drop. However, when she quickly turned around and wrestled on the WWE Mexican house shows, that alleviated some of the criticism compared to her simply being signed and being pulled off all shows. Thus far, WWE have appeared to be very happy with Vaquer, and she appears to be enjoying her time there. But what about this example of having talents wrestle on these crossover shows that aren't under contract to AEW or New Japan Pro Wrestling or a Mexican promotion and then just suddenly jump to WWE? We've seen it a couple of times now. Could it continue to happen in the future? Well, maybe not so much. According to Fightful Select, New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW sources believe that it's likely that talent that work Forbidden Door or co-promoted AEW shows in the future would have to make an agreement to not immediately go to WWE, likely just that they're under contract as opposed to a separate agreement, though this has not been confirmed within the company. So the suggestion is that to avoid a situation like Stephanie Vaquer, Dragon Lee, or others, where they could wrestle on an AEW show and then show up to WWE immediately, there might be some kind of agreement that's put in place to prevent that actually happening in the future. If we get any more details on what that agreement may look like, we'll of course let you know in a future video. Now, Shelton Benjamin made his AEW in-ring debut last week on AEW Dynamite, defeating Lio Rush, and we now already know what his next match is going to be in the promotion. Benjamin, as I mentioned, made his in-ring debut for All Elite Wrestling on last week's episode of AEW Dynamite, where he faced off against Lio Rush, scoring the victory. Benjamin was brought into the promotion alongside MVP, where the pair have been attempting to recruit Swerve Strickland to their new Hurt Syndicate faction. Shelton and Swerve are set to face off for the first time ever at the upcoming AEW Fright Night Dynamite show on October 30th, and Shelton's next match in AEW before that match has now been announced. It was announced on this past week's episode of AEW Collision that Benjamin would face off against Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion Sammy Guevara on this week's October 23rd Dynamite show. Benjamin officially received his All Elite graphic after his victory over Lio Rush on Dynamite this past week. Of course, this coming week's episode of Dynamite does have several other matches announced for the show, including Mark Briscoe defending the Ring of Honor World Championship against Chris Jericho in what is being described as a ladder war. And also, finally announced for AEW Dynamite this week, we're going to see Mercedes Moné's protege, if you will, in action. Now, following the announcement of Shelton Benjamin's second ever AEW bout on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite, Tony Khan, the AEW president and CEO, has now announced that Queen Aminata will take on Camille on this week's show. Making the announcement via X, Khan wrote, quote, "This Wednesday, October 23rd, Salt Lake City, Utah, Wednesday night AEW Dynamite, TBS, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Queen Aminata versus Camille with TBS champion Mercedes Moné. Unwilling to back down from the CEO's disrespect, Queen Aminata fights Camille this Wednesday, 1 week before Fright Night Dynamite." This match follows Mercedes Moné's retention of her AEW TBS Championship against Aminata 1 week prior and will be Camille's second ever singles bout on Dynamite and her first match on AEW's flagship show since August 7th. 1 week after Camille takes on Aminata, she will take on Chris Statlander at AEW Dynamite Fright Night on October 30th, with Statlander seemingly being lined up to challenge for Moné's TBS Championship in the near future. As I mentioned, also announced for this coming week's show is that Ring of Honor World Championship Ladder War. In addition to the Shelton Benjamin and Sammy Guevara match, we've also got the Elite, that being Jack Perry and the Young Bucks, facing off against Private Party and Daniel Garcia. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.